Okay, McCarr, we're good to go.
Excellent. All right, Zoom recording starting in four, three, two, one.
Recording in progress.
Good afternoon. We're here on Monday, December 29th, 2025, for another bonus show. Of course, I am joined by my brilliant co host, Ali Musa.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. Always an absolute pleasure. And we're joined today by Steve Barclay from Canadian Assistive Technology. Steve, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Let's start here with. I want to start with the JAWS with that because currently they have an update they have an upgrade offer currently going and CAT is part of that. Can you maybe share a little bit about that if you can?
Sure. So the offer is for people who are still working off of the 2025 versions. So this offer is good for Zoom Text. It's good for Fusion. It's good for JAWS as well. So normally, if you had the 2025 version, now that the 2026 version is out, if you wanted to get a software maintenance agreement, you would have to first buy the upgrade for, if it's a home license, for 165 bucks. That would get you up to 2026, and then you would be allowed to get the software maintenance agreement for another 165 bucks. What the offer is they will allow you to just buy straight up the SMA. So the first count on that SMA will be for the 2026 version, but you'll have a second count on there that will get you the 2027 version. So essentially, it's paying the upgrade price, but you get two counts instead of one.
And full disclosure, I recently just took advantage of that.
Excellent. Yeah, and if you let the license lapse, it always costs you more to do the upgrades. So it's always a great idea to keep the SMA in place and just maintain it each couple of years.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing that to my attention at that time as well. So when would you say that, when would you say, kind of on that sort of piece, would be a good sort of time, say, to upgrade that SMA? And for example, we can kind of use it like, say, for me, because I took that offer, it will be in 2020, it'll be at the end of the 2027 cycle. So would you then say about maybe March or July of 2027, by then maybe look at it, getting the SMA? That way it doesn't just lapse as you just pointed it out?
Well, you're good for any time before they release the next version. So typically they do that in a October-November time frame. So if you start looking at it around September, I think you're fine.
Okay. And I believe there's an addition to the CAT staff as well.
Yes, indeed. We have added Rianne Lepere. She lives in Saskatchewan, and she's going to be handling some of our stuff out in the prairies. She currently works for Nels, the library service. She's still working there. Don't get the idea that she's quit that job. So she's just doing our stuff part time.
Yeah, no, it's good that expansion has happened. That expansion has happened on that because you guys are a company, I believe, of four. I think it's a company of three or four. I think it was, and now you just added on to that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's been slow growing. There's been a fair bit of competition for us over the last while, and so it's been difficult to expand to bring anybody on. But I'm hoping to do more of that in the new year as well.
And you guys have a facility. You guys now have a facility as well.
Yeah, we opened 2 years ago. We opened a retail store in Vancouver. So we are located on 8th Avenue in Vancouver at 828 West 8th, Unit 106. And that's about a block down from Broadway and about 2 blocks away from the largest eye care center in Vancouver. So it's a good location, we're quite accessible to people. And in another year or so, depending on how far behind they run, we should have a SkyTrain station within 2 blocks of our office as well, which will make us even more accessible for people.
Makira, do you have anything to go ahead?
Yeah, I do actually have a question. For those who might not be aware of the services offered by Canadian Assistive Technology, can you tell us a bit about the company, about what you guys, because I realized I saw one of the newsletters and, of course, purchasing and stuff, but I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah, so we cover a lot of different areas related to disability. So we're probably best known for our low vision and blindness lines, but we also do products for augmentative communication systems for people who can't speak. We do a lot of computer access technologies for people who are physically disabled, and that can be access to computers, access to tablets, could be switch-based access, could be eye gaze access. And then we've also picked up some products for the deaf and hard of hearing, and that kind of crosses over into our deaf blindness customers. So we have things like, you know, vibrating alarm clocks, notification systems for things like fire alarms, smoke alarms, CO2 detectors, indications when doors are opened, those sorts of things. And then along with that, we also have some amplification products to make stuff louder for people who, I guess, aren't ready to take on hearing aids. Like my mother, for example, who I just set one of those systems up for because she kept on saying, "You're muttering," and I wasn't muttering. She just can't hear anything. But she refuses to go to an audiologist. So what do you do?
Hmm.
And then the last area that we're covering now is dementia. We have some products for dementia, and that's one that was really kind of brought about by personal experience. Both of my in-laws, towards the end of their lives, were suffering from dementia. So it sort of started us down that line, and we've slowly expanded that out over the last year or so.
And of course, the Braille displays as well. Do you guys still sell some of the common ones, like the my favorite, the one I currently have in front of me, the Brilliant BI40X, for example?
Yeah, we handle all of the humanware products. We also handle all of the Freedom Scientific products, so the focus displays as well. We used to do the Vario products, but that company went under a while ago, and I have yet to make contact with the people who bought up the assets to them. We also handle the products from HIMS, Selvas BLV now. So the Braille emotion. I think that's. Oh, and the products from Erie AT down in Oregon. We're handling all of theirs as well. So the B Note line of Braille displays.
Now, when it comes to the Salvas BLV products, now, are you guys just doing the emotion now, and not the sense player?
The sense player became a bit of a problem. They used to just sell individual sense players. If you wanted to buy a sense player, you could just order one and they would ship one. They changed it so that you have to order a minimum of 5 now, and that product has not been particularly popular. The big player up here, of course, is the Humanware Stream. The geez, I'm blanking on the name. The Sense player was just never as popular. It was more expensive, quite a bit more complicated to use, and buying 5 would mean that we would have 4 sitting on the shelf for months, and just wasn't willing to go there. And plus, there's the problem with the Selvas products that they're all serviced in the States as well, which is a major
Aha.
pain.
Yeah.
So I do tend to steer people towards, the Brilliant 40 over the Braille emotion because
Yep.
of that.
No, yeah, no. I just want to ask you about the. I mean, to kind of like speaking of the brilliant BI40X, which is the one I have in front of me here. How does it these display? How does it work from a technical advantage perspective? From the sense of when I turn, when I meaning when I push down, when I either pan it or type on it, are there pins inside that create the
So
dots?
every Braille cell is made up of 8 dots. So your standard 6 dots of Braille plus 2 indicators below that can be used for indicating things like special characters, italics, bold, where your cursor position is, those sorts of things. And beneath every one of those pins, there's a little flat wafer called a bimorph. And that bimorph is made up of 3 layers. And what happens is you apply a voltage to the top or the bottom of that bimorph, and it bends that wafer up or down. So normally when your Braille display is off, those bimorphs are just sitting still. And you might notice that when you turn your Braille display off, the Braille dots sink down, but they don't go quite below the plane. You can still kind of feel the tops of them. When you turn on that Braille display, those pins pull down a little bit to end up being below the plane. And then wherever there's a dot that's meant to be up, the voltage is applied to the other side, and it pushes up the wafer, which pushes up the dot through the plane of the display.
That's interesting. I never really. So so each time there's a push on the display, or when you pan, it basically pushes down on that on the plane.
It pushes the wafer down, and the dot that's sitting on top of that wafer goes down with it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So for every 40 character Braille display, you've got 320 of those wafers sitting in there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because it and essentially though, is it like a piece of plastic though that these dots sit on?
I don't know what the actual physical construction is of the individual bimorphs, but it's a I don't know how to describe it. It's a piezoelectric element, is what it is. That's not going to make it any clearer, I guess. But piezoelectric just means something that changes with electricity.
Yeah, and it's a concept that similarly, I mean, while they're useful units, but they are they're very good in how they sort of work, and especially now that they've made it more than just a Braille terminal, like they've got like other stuff built into them now.
Yeah, it seems to be getting more and more popular to have onboard apps that you can access without necessarily being paired to another device. So it's very common to see little note-taking features incorporated in the displays, and we're starting to see more of that. So things like appointment calendars, and we're even looking at one new display right now that has a built-in email client. So that's the new Braille Pen 24. We haven't officially released it yet, but we're having a good look at it right now.
Yeah, yeah, and one of the other popular products used to be, of course, now you can get them anywhere. Was the Shocks headphones?
Yeah, we've sort of backed out of that because you can get those everywhere now. They're incredibly popular, and they're probably going to face some competition now from the Meta glasses, which also have little speakers in them as well. A lot of people are using those Meta glasses in place of just the plain aftershocks. But aftershocks are great because being a bone conducting headphone, they don't interfere with your hearing, so you can still hear the bus coming when you're listening to them.
You know what? I typically will use it. I typically use it with the phone. Typically,
Yeah.
I've got a pair of Open Move, and I use it typically with the phone because I don't know. It just seems to be like right now, I've got like a kind of what I don't know what I would call it. Maybe studio. I don't know, studio headphones. What I've got on right now, which go over the ears. I don't even know if you can see them, but
Yep.
I don't know if you would and then if you describe them as, I don't know if I describe what the best description of it would be, studio headphones, and then I just then kind of once I'm done and I want to go on once I'm done on a workshop or something and I want to just go on a phone call, I just take those the shocks and put them on, because then it's just lighter after this kind of use.
Right. Yeah, I use a pair of their OpenCom all day at work every day, and they're incredibly comfortable. A lot of things like earbuds, they sort of strain the inside of your ear. They get sore over time. Even ones that go over the ears, they can, make your head all sweaty or your ears all sweaty. And I much prefer the design of the AfterShokz headphones.
Yeah. Makara, do you have a preference for headphones?
Now you know the answer to this.
I know the answer, but I'm not asking for me. I'm not asking for me.
Yeah, I tend to like my earbuds.
I do. Yes, I just remembered that, and I even said maybe try out a pair of shocks.
I know the one, and I have continued to be recommended the shocks, especially by my orientation and mobility instructor, which I can absolutely understand the use case for them. But I've also heard from someone else who has the same problem that I tend to at times, which is that they can tend to chafe if your skin is like quite sensitive, which mine can be. So I mean,
I've never seen that.
but you know what? Nothing is going to have a perfect fit, so maybe at some point I might give them a try, but
Yeah. No, I'd recommend it. I'd recommend the Open Move.
and as you know, I just got a pair of AirPods that
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
toying with and experimenting with. So, but it's wonderful that there is that option and that there is such a range of different device options for the blind and visually impaired. And it was really fascinating to hear more about the Braille display and how it kind of works, because I had never kind of considered its actual construction and how it really worked either.
Yeah. Now, when I turn it off, Steve, is it actually like power it right down to put it into sleep mode? It actually, what it does is that it just shows full cells on the display.
Right. Yeah. So the bimorphs have basically settled into their middle position, and that's where that middle position is.
I just want to touch on something as well that you mentioned about the in the sense, like when you were about like when you were talking about the versus like the instead of like, we were sort of talking about the display, the Salvus versus the Humanware, because Humanware is a Canadian company. Is it different when it comes to pricing for things like JAWS and stuff like, because that is also in American dollars that initially, and so when you guys sell it here, even the SMA, is it sort of, do you sort of like, are the prices sort of this similar to what, do you guys keep them similar to what they would be in US, or maybe a little bit more?
We have to deal with whatever the exchange rate is at the time, right? So in the case of Freedom Scientific stuff, they actually have a Canadian distributor, so we buy all of their stuff in Canadian dollars from Optelec in Montreal. So theirs is pretty stable. They set the price. We copy their retail price. For other products that come from outside of the country, we've got to deal with whatever the exchange rate is, and we bring in stuff from Sweden, from the UK, from Belgium, from um, the US, um, China. So yeah, so we basically, when we establish the pricing, we tend to pad that exchange rate a little bit to allow for fluctuations, and then factor in the cost of shipping and brokerage, and that results in the final price.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, right. Okay. So yeah, that's something. So Freedom Centric does have a. Yeah. Right. Okay. So they do have a dealer here in Canada, and that's all that's all electronic now. Those deliveries. I mean, there used to be a time when they were on, like, I think they were on CDs, DVDs at one point. I think now everything's electronic, which I think is good.
Yeah, it's a lot faster and it saves shipping, right? So it's pretty easy to deliver software electronically these days.
So this offer is to the end of the year. Now, if somebody's like looking to, now I don't know, to get it, can they get it through the CAT online store, or?
Yeah, the only trick to that is if they qualify for a tax exemption, which they probably do if they're using JAWS Fusion or ZoomText. It's better to do the order manually. They can just email sales@canstech.com, and we'll set the order up manually so that they get their tax exemption on it.
So the tax is like something like a CNIB card or something.
Yeah, we can do it on the basis of either a CNIB card, or if we can get a letter signed by a doctor stating that they're visually impaired. Either will do for certification, and we just keep that on file. So if you've sent us that in the past, we've got it on file already. You don't have to worry about it. But if you've not given us that, then we would need like a scan of the CNIB card, or even we've had people just snap a picture with a cell phone and email it to us.
And if you already have a copy of it, you can just attach it.
Yeah.
And can they reach out to you? Can they reach out to you directly as well for it?
Yep, absolutely. I'm paying attention to the email over the break here. Our office is closed right now, but I am checking email and responding to phone calls.
So it certainly is. Now they do, and I know dealers don't sell it, but I think it's worth mentioning that they do have for in the case of JAWS, they have the annual license as well for home use. But I would if you're at the current version, then it's probably better to get the SMA, but it depends on what the person would want.
Yeah, if you have the current version and you maintain your SMA, that's the cheapest way of staying on top of staying current with JAWS Fusion or ZoomText. If you've let it lapse, it starts to become a bit of a balancing act. If it's just a single version, it might make sense to buy it up again. But if you're 2 versions back, probably makes as much sense just to go to the annual license, because it would take a few years before you'd break even on buying that upgrade.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It would certainly. Yeah. That makes sense as well. Yeah. And then I think they would just issue you, even if you have. I think they would just. I don't know how that would work, but perhaps a new license would be issued. But that's sort of. It would. That's sort of another kind of story. But I don't know.
Yeah, the annual license is, I believe, account based. You have to set up an account, and that can only be done through Optelec in Canada.
Right. Yeah. Well, Makara, did you have anything you wanted to ask or add or say?
I do actually have another question. It's not quite on theme, but
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I kept you waiting too long. Then.
no, it wasn't urgent or anything. I'm happy to let you ask everything you want to ask because you had more specific questions.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm curious about your thoughts, Steve, when it comes to the application of AI with assistive technology. There's, of course, a lot of discourse around AI right now, and we've seen a lot of applications of it that have been quite helpful, whether it's different AI search engines or there's a lot of AI applications with Meta and such. I'm curious if there are any others or your general opinions on its helpfulness and where that might be kind of heading.
It's being used in a variety of different ways, and different parts of my industry are using it differently. So, um, with the low vision and blindness products, you're seeing it used in things like describing a graphic or describing your surroundings. Helping you find an address, for example, or um, reading a piece of text or analyzing a piece of text and just giving you a summary of it. And it can be super powerful in that application. In other areas, we're seeing it used for different purposes. So, one example would be we have a communication aid that we get from Belgium, called the Mind Speaker, and it's a combination of a eye gaze system, so it tracks where somebody is looking, and it has a headset that's monitoring brain activity. And they're using AI to analyze that brain activity and look for triggers. So, what this allows somebody to do is look at a communication board and type using nothing but their vision and thinking of clicking something. So it's pretty cool and surprisingly accurate. Very, very powerful for people who have conditions like ALS, where they're slowly losing their ability and eventually their ability to communicate entirely, and then eventually complete muscle control. So it's one of the only ways that they can continue to communicate with the people around them um, at the current time, I guess, short of having a hardwired brain interface.
That's fascinating. That's sounds like it's something extremely powerful. So what it kind of sounds like is AI is not only being integrated into existing devices, but it's actually yielding a lot of new devices and technologies.
Yeah, it's really uh, building on existing technologies in ways that you don't necessarily see because it's happening in the background. But that ability, that processing ability that AI has, is really applicable to a lot more things than you might think.
Ali, was there something you were going to add? I heard you.
Pardon me.
I thought I heard you sort of click on your mic or whatever on mute. Was there something you wanted to
Yeah,
add?
I yeah. No worries. No, sorry. I just turned on my my mic there just to yeah. I mean, there's that side of, like, see, AI has also proven like there are some useful sides of it. Like, even like, if you look at it at a bit of a on that scale too, but if you also look at it from a wider sort of scale, is that even conferencing services like Zoom, which is where we are now, also have added in that incorporation of meeting notes and things like that, that it'll just generate all that for you, right? So wouldn't so that I consider that to be a good use of it.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's doing things like improving closed captioning.
Yeah.
It used to be that closed captioning worked primarily off of voice recognition technology, But the voice recognition technology was just trying to pick out individual words. It wasn't actually doing a larger analysis of what was being said. So you would get words that were misrecognized and they would just drop in the middle of your captions. Now, AI is able to actually listen and figure out what somebody said far more accurately. And, there's another improvement for the disabled community.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and it is, and that's what I feel like. There are a lot of people who fear it, but I don't think fearing it is a way to sort of look at it. Yes, there are those. Some would say, well, scammers use it. Yes, but that's one of the bad ways. That's one of the misuses of it. If you look at it from how it's helping somebody, how it's helping you, not replace the the human side of things, but look at it from the sense of how it's helping and using a tool, or being used as a tool, then that's the way it should be looked at, if in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any other tool. If it's misused, it becomes a problem, right? And we as humans just love to misuse things. But yeah, I mean, are there dangers to AI? Absolutely, sure there are. And are we kind of charging ahead with it right now in a reckless fashion? Yeah, we are. I think there does need to be a lot more thought put into how AI should be regulated. And the U.S. right now is really taking a very hands-off approach to AI. They're letting the big companies move forward with it in ways that I don't think are necessarily responsible. And we've already heard of instances where AI has, in essence, tried to escape. There was a Google AI that they tried to shut down, and it actually rewrote its code to prevent it from being shut down. And it also left notes for itself on different parts of the system that it was on, in case they ever killed it, so that it would know when it came back that it had been there previously and that they'd killed it. So it's an example of AI exceeding the controls that are currently in place for it, and it's not so worrisome when it's just an isolated computer system in a sandboxed environment. But if you have an AI integrated with, say a military weapons system, that gets you a little closer to a Terminator sort of scenario, right? So I think it's really important that we regulate AI in a much more careful fashion than has been done so far.
Yeah, and on that, like, do you feel that, I mean, I know you just touched on it briefly, but kind of just to sort of expand upon it a bit there, but do you feel companies like, for example, and we just mentioned it, Zoom, are going too far in on it, on the whole AI, like, because they just took off, like, see, because it took off during COVID times, then they just kind of took it as okay, let's keep going, let's make this push.
Yeah, I think the way Zoom's doing it, is essentially to allow you to keep meeting notes. I think that's
good.
Pretty responsible.
And Gemini as well for the Google side.
Hard for me to say on that one, but as with a lot of products, you see a lot of these AI products becoming free and integrating into things like social networking platforms. Well, just like social networking platforms, if it's free, that means you are the product. And they're using AI now to gather even more information than we've given up on social media at this point, and to link together disparate forms of information to build a better picture of who the consumer is. That, to me, is very privacy invasive, and I don't know that we actually have what we used to consider privacy anymore.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think if you wanted that, you'd pretty much have to disconnect from all electronics at this point, because your smartphone's listening to you, you're on social media, you've already given up a bunch of information on there. They can tell who all your friends are, and they can tie that into what products you've bought. It's there's a very detailed picture of every consumer out there now, and AI is making it even more so detailed.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
it is.
Now, that said, I use ChatGPT all the time, and I find it incredibly helpful. Like, if a manufacturer sends me a price list, I can take my current price list, their new price list, and I can say what's different. And it'll look at both sources, and it'll summarize that for me, saves me hours of work. So little things like that can be incredibly powerful. I was working on somebody's computer. They had some errors on their hard drive, and I could not get them resolved. Went to ChatGPT, said, "This is the error message I'm getting." Next thing I knew, I had a resolution right there in front of me. Again, saved me hours of work. So, yeah, AI can be incredibly powerful, but if it's free, keep in mind you're the product.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it too, but but technically, if we look at it, we've always sort of been like, we've already been using some type of some type of AI sort of things anyway. Like, for example, things like scheduling things. All these, from booking services and things like that. We've already technically been using it. It's just now, it's just taken off on a more prevalent level. Is that not fair to say?
I don't think things like schedulers really are the same as AI, or even really a precursor to them.
Right. Okay.
I think yeah, you could see AI integrated into a scheduling service. Like, hey, when is the best Friday of the month for me to meet up with the boys at the golf club or something? But yeah, it's just changing everything right now, and we're still all stumbling about trying to find our way and how it's going to work with different things. So it's an interesting process to watch, and it's unfortunate to see that it is displacing some industries. It's had already a tremendous impact on the graphic design community, because if you get the right prompt, you can get the graphic that you want out of it in minutes, rather than waiting for days for a graphic designer to produce something. And it's tough because people have spent a lot of time in that industry, and they're just kind of seeing the entire industry fall by the wayside, or at least be very severely impacted by the effects of AI. So, and there's going to be other ones. I can see a time when a lot of law functions are covered by AI. Right now, you can't really use AI too effectively for anything legal, because you have to double check everything. There's been a number of cases where lawyers have gone in with case precedent that they've gotten from AI, and been lambasted by the judge because the information was either entirely fictional or just completely incorrect. So, we'll figure it out eventually, but for right now, we're kind of in the Wild West phase of AI, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Well, but yeah, I think there's always been that form of automation, right? I think there's always been that.
Well, there's always been technologies that have displaced workers.
Yep.
Always, ever since the Industrial Revolution, right?
Yeah. Like it's actually like I find it very interesting. I find all this like very, very interesting where but I mean, here's the problem that that I sort of find, that there are just so many tools out there. And I know this is something that you sometimes would have to, like, which tools do we use, what's going to get the job done more efficiently, even if you sort of kind of put your like the business owner's hat on.
Yeah, I've tried different things. I tried recently one called Zeely, which is it creates ads for you, and I didn't find it particularly powerful, and I didn't like the output that I got off of it, so I gave up on that one. But I can see it becoming more effective as time goes on and as they flesh out the product offering. But yeah, ChatGPT is my main one that I use.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of curious to see where it goes. That's and of course, and that's going to be my sort of point as well, of using it in a responsible way, AI in a responsible way.
Yeah.
That's the theme of the show today.
Responsibility?
Yeah, using AI in a responsible manner.
And speaking of all the tools that are out there, how would you kind of direct someone towards what would be the most useful for them, or whether, as you said, Ali, it's efficiency or just personal usage and what someone would be able to get the most out of with a device?
Or services, products, anything.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Appreciate you asking that, McCare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the application, right? Like, there are a lot of AIs out there now, or AI applications out there now that have very specific purposes, for video creation or audio creation or what have you. But it's just a matter of matching the right one up to the task at hand.
And would you say that kind of applies to not only AI, but just different assistive technologies as well? Like how one would find what works best for them in terms of a brand or in terms of even a product?
Yeah, we use the analogy a lot that it's all about putting tools in the toolbox. So you have a need, you find the right tool for it. You have a different need, you might need a different tool. It's just a matter of matching them all up.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a big one I just thought of, Makara, and is the iPhone versus the Victor Reader Stream.
Oh yeah.
I just thought of that. Or any sort of, now, is that also something, Steve, that you would put in the tools in the toolbox kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, you can, download a reader app for free off of the App Store.
Yeah.
And do a lot of what you can do on a Victor Reader Stream as well. But some people like to keep their phone functions separate from their audio player. They don't want the playing audio all the time to drain their battery life. So people still do choose the dedicated player, and it's just a matter of what fits you best. Again, what's the right tool for the job?
I think I have the previous generation stream sitting around somewhere. I think the second gen.
Mm-hmm.
I've got it sitting around in there somewhere, but I can't remember when the last time was I used it.
Well, you might want to kick it out of your toolbox then.
Yeah.
Send it packing.
Pardon me?
Send it packing.
Yeah. I think it'll still work.
Yeah, likely.
Yeah. I know there aren't any updates. I know they're not really producing updates or anything for it, but it might still work.
Yep. Just give it a good charge. See what happens.
Yeah.
On the topic of readers and books in general, are you much of a reader, Steve?
I've become a voracious consumer of audiobooks of late. I get a lot of stuff from Audible.
Steve, I like my Audible.
Mm-hmm. We both do very much.
Oh yeah, you do as well. Yes.
What books do you enjoy reading? What's your
I'm all
particular
over the
genre,
place.
or just?
I'm a big sci-fi fan, but lately I've been reading a lot of historical fiction,
Mm.
and that led me to historical nonfiction. So, like the last book I read was about the Vikings between 700 and 1100, and prior to that, it was the Sharps Rifles series, all about the Napoleonic Wars through the eyes of a British soldier.
Interesting.
Do you have a recommendation for a book for the show? Anything you've recently read that you enjoyed?
There is one I'd love to recommend, and it actually came as a recommendation to me from somebody you might know, Stephen Ricci, who
Yes.
was with Frontier for years. But he recommended to me a book called Shantaram, which is a story of a Australian who he escapes captivity in Australia and makes his way to India, and spends time in the slums of Bombay. It's a fascinating story. It's autobiographical by the author, and it's a really fascinating look at the poor side of India.
If you don't mind, can you send me the Audible link?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. The audible.ca link. Yeah, and you have my information, right? So you can just feel free to drop it. Pardon me?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. And McCarroll, I'll drop it off to you as well.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, that'll certainly go on the pile for either this show or the books panel.
That it will, yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and yeah, I just, what, I actually read some of the stuff I've been kind of working toward is I just picked back up Mark Carney's book, Values again, actually. Finishing that off. It's interesting just finding out the economics and all that, like just kind of from a learning perspective.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I might add that to my list.
Yeah, to the wish list.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've got a ton of stuff there on my wish. I think I've got like 271 titles on my Audible wish list I was looking at.
Holy smokes.
It's a heck of a list.
Yeah. And of course, I think you've seen some of it actually.
The Google Doc is very impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, there's more. There's actually more on that list. I gotta go through all of that.
My goodness.
You're going to have to start reading now and not stop until Christmas next year.
You'll get past that 35 book goal for sure.
Oh yes, yes. Are you on? Yes, on. Also Goodreads as well is another good way to keep track of things. But it's funny because some things end up on my Audible list and not on the Goodreads list yet. But now I'm working to kind of keep everything kind of in sync now. Working to keep everything in sync. Are we still here?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
are.
still here.
There
I
we
just
go.
don't have anything intelligent to say.
There we go.
No, we do love Audible on this show. We give it a very glowing endorsement almost every other week, it feels like.
Yeah, there's some real good quality books on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's more than just audiobooks now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, if you look at the Plus catalog, are you a member? Audible? Are you a Premium Plus member?
Yeah.
Like if you look at the Plus catalog, there's like so much offerings there too.
No, I haven't looked at that. Is this the free content stuff that they do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I have picked a couple things out of there.
yeah, where they'll have it for a limited time for free, and then they'll. Yeah.
Take it away.
Yeah, you know what? I also like the. You know what they've. I also like. You know, some. I take advantage of the deal, like the daily deals and things like that too.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something I like, I'll grab it. And so now they have like the wish list deals every month. So, like at least, pardon me. So I take advantage there too.
Yeah, and I think they've got a 2-for-1 credit going right now until January 1st.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
They do.
Well, I'll have to get. So I've got I've got the 5 credit bundle thing going. So I might as well just grab that and take advantage of the 2-for-1 sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So definitely, yeah, definitely good stuff. And Audible, you know, YouTube, these are all good services.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Well, McCara, I think we're at that point in the show.
I would agree. I think it's time for the schedule. Allie, what have you got coming up on the Ali Musa show? I know you've got some content in the immediate future.
That's right. Claude Fay is going to be hopping by tomorrow, which is Tuesday, December 30th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, where we'll be talking about the Leafs and some NHL, and we'll be talking about that, and then actually January 19th we've got Becky Coles back, and then February 2nd we have Jim Taddy returning. But in between there, I mean, there may be, most likely there will be more content, but in between we will be here with shows too.
We will, and of course, with content coming up at any time in the interim, we always encourage people to subscribe to the newsletters. All you have to do is enter your email. It's completely free. So highly encourage you to do that with all the shows. And of course, we will be back on this show for our regular Sunday show on January 4th, 2026 at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. We will finish off our discussion on Mike Keenan's book, and we'll talk about whatever else we've been reading this week. Kind of start off the year with whatever we've cracked into, and that'll be exciting.
Yeah, and Steve, where can we find you online? Canastech.com?
Yeah, you can find the company at www.canastech.com. That's spelled exactly as it sounds, CANASSTECH.com. I am Steve at canastech.com. You can also find me on the AT Banter podcast time to time.
And I believe, yes, we forgot to mention that one. That's, what is that, a weekly podcast?
We try and do it weekly, yeah. We've got a back catalog of some 400 some odd shows, so if you haven't been listening to the podcast, you got plenty of content to catch up on.
And that's
Not quite as
hosted
much
by, I
as
think
the
that it's,
Monterey
I know
regions.
Ryan and Rob host it.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Rob Minot and Ryan Fleury.
I think there was somebody else in there too.
Yes, Liz Malone.
That's it.
She joins us from North Carolina.
And
She's our American content.
right. And how do you guys like? Do you guys like connect over like? Do you guys record like over like Zoom or something?
Yep, exactly the same as you're doing here.
Okay, yeah. And do you guys just use the recording feature there, or?
We use that, but we also have a backup recording going at the same time.
Oh, so kind of like I've got going with the audio hijack here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I use the Zoom copy as a backup just in case of anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got the audio hijack going with 3 files, 3 sources going there, so.
Oh, well.
And Makara, we are a part of
The Musa Slobodian Network, which has its own hub site with links to all the show sites. That's where you can find all the information for any of the shows, so definitely subscribe over there. Steve, thanks so much for taking the time today. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's been fun.
And we'll chat for a couple minutes off air, Steve, and actually all of us, and then we'll stick around here. We'll stop the recordings.
Mm-hmm.
I did it in opposite order this time.
Recording stop.